Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Hero Movie Podcast, your greatest source for superhero movie discussion in the multiverse. My name is Adam Portrais, and I'm joined by Bruce Leslie.
I'm a prickly pear, and you can look all you want, but don't touch.
No, you cannot, but you mustn't touch. You remember that from The Simpsons?
Yeah.
Max power, baby. Max power. Oh, gosh. I am such a fountain of useless garbage, man. It does not stop with me. Yes, Sean Keenan is still on assignment. No worries, kids. I have reports that he's still alive. Perhaps Chris Hardwick may still be holding him hostage. We are not 110% sure, but do keep him in your thoughts and prayers. I hear that we can only get him out if we reach, over $500 on patreon.com/HMP.
Oh, so we're going to pull at the heartstrings. This puppy will die if we don't make it to $500.
We'll take Sean Keenan out to the shed. That's not
He's
true.
going to be turned into a zombie on The Walking Dead for perpetuity.
It will happen, people. Just trust me. No, but he is still out in assignment. That's all good. But you know what? What do we do when Sean Keenan's away? Adam and Bruce will play. We'll play in the neighborhood that Sean Keenan does not want to go down, everybody.
Yeah, I think he plans this well.
Yeah, he sees things, and I don't know. We may talk about that a little later in the show. But this week we will be reviewing Batman and Harley Quinn. It had a quick run in theaters there for one night only. Went to VOD, and this week it actually comes out on Blu-ray and DVD and everything. So if you'd like to pick yourself up a hard copy, you can go and do that at your local Best Buys or wherever the heck it is that you go for stuff these days, or just order it on Amazon if you're one of those cretins that doesn't like to leave the house.
Try to find it cheaper than I did. I spent $19.99. It's probably not worth that.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, if one of the things has like a toy or something in it that you might, give to a kid and brighten their day or something, maybe give that to them. But we'll also discuss on maybe why you shouldn't let your child watch this program.
Yeah,
But hey, who's to say? I'm not going to sit here and tell you how to parent your own child, but I will say this: if you let your child watch this, you're probably a bad parent.
Yes, I agree with that. I'll second that one.
But we'll talk. So clearly, Bruce let his kids watch.
Actually, I didn't, man. I didn't. But
smart move.
I have let them watch other stuff that they probably shouldn't have. I took my daughter to see Kick-Ass when she was like 4 years old or something. So
that's awesome.
I've got my sins.
Hey, look, you were, let's be frank, you're really preparing her to be your own little hit girl, and we all know that.
You know it. You better believe it. She's almost too old for it now, but at the time, I had her sword picked out and everything.
Stab. Oh, gosh, you just aren't getting this. I should have started training you younger. It's my fault. Maybe because your mother's still alive. What are we going to do? And he's stroking his chin going, maybe I should kill it. No, I shouldn't kill it. That would be wrong.
That would be wrong.
Don't do that. Speaking of things that are wrong, we don't like those things. We like things that are right. And you know what we like, Bruce? We like letters over here at HMP. Let's go ahead and open up the old HMP mailbag. It's been a while.
Bale's here.
Our first email up is from one of our longtime fans, fan of everything that we do. We you know her, you love her. It's from Maria.
Yay!
And it's entitled Venom. This should be some interesting discussion here. Hey guys, so I heard your Spider-Man 3 episode, and it was amazing as usual. Anyways, I was wondering what your thoughts on the new Venom movie that I heard is in the works. I'm not sure if they cast the new Venom yet. I was wondering who you think would be a good pick for the character. I'm not sure myself as I haven't read the comics, but maybe Tom Hardy, or is he too big physically for the character? Wanted your thoughts. Great work. Keep it up from Maria from upstate New York. Funny that you mentioned that. Even when she wrote this, Tom Hardy was actually already cast in the role as Venom.
Oh, man, I was thinking like Jim Parsons. Is that his name?
Yes, Jim Parsons, who will have a connection. It's the Jim Parsons connection on this week's episode of HMP.
Yeah.
But no, he would be a little bit on the tiny side for that, I think. And, no thank you. But Tom Hardy is he's scheduled to be Venom right now. Will a Venom movie actually happen? I wouldn't be holding my breath on that one, kids.
Now, have they had people cast as Venom in the past? I don't mean like all the way back to Topher Grace, but I feel like this property was kind of kicking around during the Garfield era, and then it kind of went incognito for a while, and now it's resurfaced.
As in like James Garfield?
As in like the cat.
Okay. I don't know. There's a possibility. If there has been, I sure as shooting don't remember it.
I almost feel like this was one of the many things that has been attached to Channing Tatum.
Really?
Yeah, but maybe I'm just confusing it with Gambit.
I think he's too much of a nice guy to be able to pull that role off. People like him too much.
I agree with you on that, man. I think he's try as he may, he can never be unlovable.
And I'll say this, Maria. No, I don't think he's too big physically. If anything, he may be still also too small. I mean, Tom Hardy's a big guy if you shoot him in the right light, and the right camera angles and everything. But honest to goodness, he ain't that big of a dude.
I know that like people who are I'm saying people. I know at least one person who's a diehard Venom fan really thought like Brock Lesnar type size is what Eddie Brock needs.
That size, but not Brock Lesnar acting. Let's be frank here.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We're talking about two different things here. You need an excellent actor like John Cena to be Venom.
I'm Venom. And what they say,
hey, he's convincing as that bull in those Ferdinand things.
That's true. Now. They've kind of said. Now let me ask you this, because I want your opinion, because I think all of this is just a horrible idea on top of horrible idea.
Yeah,
is that they're gonna have they're thinking about putting Carnage in this thing as well. Not only do we have one crummy villain, we're gonna have two crummy villains. And
well, let's first off, Venom doesn't have to be crummy. I mean, Venom, he's had fun in the comics. There's been some upsides to Venom. So I'll say that. And also, you do this thing where if it's a villain spin-off movie, the villain kind of has to be the hero. Right. You know what I mean? Like Sinister Six style. So even though he's the villain, giving him somebody even worse like Carnage to fight against is pretty cool. And they could always go the Flash Thompson route where Venom is more of a heroic character from the get-go. Maybe.
And the word on the street is they're thinking Riz Ahmed, I believe, for that role.
Now, who is that?
He was in, I think he was in Nightcrawler. He was the little guy in Nightcrawler that went around with him.
Okay.
And he was also in what you call it, the offshoot Rogue One.
Okay. I think I know who you're talking about then. But I think Cletus Cassidy, just for the name alone, is worth putting in a movie. I don't know. Carnage, to me, Carnage isn't any more just as good as anything else Sony's going to throw up against the wall in a Venom movie. I mean, do you think they're going to pick somebody other than Carnage and it's going to make it better?
No. It's going to be garbage no matter what you do. So it's garbage on top of garbage. I think these are still the same people. I can't remember if this is off the table or not. But I mean, these are the same people that are thinking about, hey, let's put Silver Sable in a movie with like Black Cat. It's just like, who cares, dude? That is such a horrible idea.
Exactly the team up that I read was Silver Sable and Black Cat. Which who's begging for that movie?
No one. And I heard it was on, then I heard it was off. It may be back on again. It's Sony. Roll the dice. You might hit an idea.
Oh boy.
Next email up here is from Matt, and it's entitled "You Done Did It."
I like that.
Howdy, gents. First of all, great work in the past few weeks. I mean, I don't think anyone under 35 cares about Guyver, but it's still a good show. You three are continuing to do the Lord's work. As of this very second, not that you haven't been my favorite for a while now, but since How Did This Get Made continues to just vomit garbage and call it a podcast, any and all podcast recommendations will go to you and you guys above all.
Hey, I like that.
Now, I'm not saying I have, but mostly I'm not saying I haven't, winky face, taken friends' phones and subscribed them to your show, LOL. See, this is all we ask, that people just steal somebody else's phone.
Keep up the good work, sir.
And do that. That's what we keep asking. Just trying to keep my favorite show afloat. Not that you guys have any issues with that, LOL. Keep up the good work, guys. Can't wait to hear your thoughts on Defenders this week. I guess that's from last week and I forgot to read it. That is from Matt from Florida, a.k.a. the HM Creeper.
Yeah, you know what? We ought to invite Paul Scheer to sit in for Sean while he's out.
Sean will have none of that.
Oh man, you have his people's number? I'll send him a message.
Yeah, I think we might be able to do that. So let's see. Yep. All right. So that is it. Let me make sure that this stupid thing doesn't play here. And this thing does play. I got to make sure. I got a lot to go on today here. Let's close up the old HMP mailbag.
Bale's here.
And And, of course, if you'd like to send us an email, we'd like you to do that over at heromoviepodcast@gmail.com. And speaking of things that we want people to do, stealing Nana's cell phone and all that kind of good stuff, if you've been following us over on HMP, you know that's our kind of gig now. Well, we found out most people's Nanas are dead, so steal Auntie's cell phone and, give us a 5-star review like this person did, a 5-star review, a.k.a. Humdinger.
Humdinger.
This one is 5 stars. It's entitled Fantastic from Rob Predit. I hope I'm saying that right, Rob.
You nailed it. We'll
call you Rob from now on out. This is a fantastic podcast that explores superhero movies from several different viewpoints. I appreciate the hosts do not cuss, as my kids love this podcast as well. That's what we try to do, man.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for an amazing show. Keep up the great work. That's from Rob, man. Rob, thank you so much for that, man. And I'll be honest with you, that is one of the things that we kind of started out with this show was we knew that this is going to have the widest audience of any of the of most of the shows that we all do on podcasts and stuff. So we truly did want to make it accessible to everybody. So it's nice to see that people appreciate that because if you listen to some of our other shows, it can get a little bit salty. But we wanted to keep this one nice and clean for all of you guys because, frankly, I want situations just like that to happen.
And for me, I don't expect the kids to necessarily enjoy HMP, but it's just nice to have a decent podcast I can listen to with my kids in the car and don't have to turn it off or whatever if I'm in the middle of it. So we just aim for that. Like, we're not trying to entertain your kids, but also we want you to feel comfortable to let us play while they're play on your speakers while they're riding in the back seat.
That's the biggest thing too. And I've got podcasts like that where, like, if I have like the niece or nephew in the car, I'm just like, it's not bad material per se, but it may not be the best to play in front of kids. So, but we try to be that thing that we can be entertaining to you and not something that you have to, shield little ears from. So, it's glad that you dig on that, man. Anyways, let's go ahead and do it, everybody. DC has some direct-to-video animation. Sometimes they hit theaters. This one hit a theater. Let's find out if it should have or not. Here is a trailer for Batman and Harley Quinn.
Okay, we got one Power Girl jumbo combo. Gonna lose that hand, Puddin'. Anything else for you today, boys?
Gotta be her.
Hey, try to work here!
Pamela, we are out of time.
Bingo.
At last, Mother Earth's salvation.
Look how beautiful you are.
It works. It works. This is no ordinary leafy mouse, but a harbinger of the new age.
Ivy and the Floronic Man were up to questionable activities. We need help.
Harley Quinn reporting for duty, sir!
God help us.
Where can I find your BFF, Poison Ivy?
I can help you find her, but you're gonna put in a good word for me with the parole board.
No.
Come on, you're really gonna change us all into plants?
Humankind have had their chance.
And you've had yours.
I thought we were friends.
Friends don't let friends kill 7 billion people.
Yeah.
If you aren't willing to agree to my terms, why should I help you?
As insane as you are, you enjoy living.
How about just a little something to sweeten the deal? Spa day? Autograph picture for my little cousin? He's real sick. Okay, fine, whatever. You're the boss.
All right, that was the trailer for Batman and Harley Quinn, our new release review of the week. Here's the IMDb plotline. As we know, IMDb always 100% correct in everything they say and or do. Batman and Nightwing are forced to team with the Joker's sometimes girlfriend Harley Quinn to stop a global threat brought about by Poison Ivy and Jason Woodrow, the Floronic Man. This is directed by Sam Liu, starring my Batman, Kevin Conroy, Lauren Lester, Melissa Rauch, Kevin Michael Richardson, Joe DiMaggio, and Rob Paulson, and more. Bruce, what do you have for us? Hold on. I got it, boy.
It's time for Bruce's comic book connection.
Darn near forgot about it, but we got it. What we got?
Well, Harley Quinn has become one of the most recognizable characters in comics. I would dare say she is now a cultural icon of sorts. Jim Lee refers to Harley Quinn as the fourth pillar in their publishing line behind Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. The 2016 relaunch of her comic shipped more copies than any other DC Rebirth title, and in October of 2016, Harley Quinn's Halloween costume ranked as the most popular costume in both the United States and the United Kingdom. But why is this, I ask? Well, there's always talk of a certain void in comics and related properties of adequate female representation, and somehow Harley fills this void in a very specific way. Now, with the casting of Margot Robbie and some of the character reconstruction in the New 52, Harley has slipped a little into the sex appeal category that for years has been dominated by the likes of Power Girl and Catwoman, but that's not really why I think the character appeals to so many female fans. In fact, I think of it as it's a bit of a disservice to the character, if you ask me. Now, she represents a measure of the multifaceted construction of real people, and I have to believe that female fans want to see female characters treated as people rather than things, which all too often women in comics appear to be. There may also be something uniquely feminine to Harley that I can't completely understand as a guy. So I asked my daughter about it. My daughter's 11 years old, and she's an immense fan of Harley Quinn, often making it clear that Harley is far and away her favorite fictional character, not just from comic books, but from all fiction, with Hermione Granger being a close second.
Wow.
Now, I took my daughter to see Wonder Woman, and she liked it, but she told me she still likes Harley better. And I asked her why, and she told me, and I'm paraphrasing here, but she told me that Wonder Woman is just Superman or Captain America with boobs, and the assumption is that it takes more than just boobs to be a real woman. But if I think about it, so often female characters that get a push from comics were written by men, the same way they write male characters, and they didn't seem to embody anything that was really different thematically. But what about Harley? She's crazy, and something appeals about breaking the rules, perhaps even more so to young women forced to conform to male expectations. But she's not a manic pixie dream girl, whatever that means. Harley Quinn is extremely smart, very well educated, but that doesn't mean she can't have fun. She even bends expectations of good guy versus bad guy, refusing to be labeled as one or the other. She has survived a very abusive relationship and come through the other side a stronger, more independent person for it. She has learned an important lesson from her time with the Joker, and that is to never lose herself for someone else again. I really like the post-Joker Harley we've been given the last few years. Now, just because her shorts are too short doesn't mean she can't do math. Just because she has dimples and blonde hair doesn't mean she can't knock you out. And her foe may be a 300-pound, 6.5-foot tall man, but his gonads are just as tender as the next guy's. She's feminine but not objectified. When she enters, she's in charge of the entire room. One female viewer of Batman the Animated Series recounted her first impressions of the character for an interview with Vulture magazine. She said, "There weren't a lot of female characters at the time like her who were so human and unique and refreshing and weird and not just sexy. Feminism is about showing women as fully fleshed out human beings, and that's what Harley is. She doesn't make choices that are smart or good for a woman, but she gets to make those choices. Men are allowed to be screw-ups and all kinds of characters, and women aren't. We have to be idealized. She gets to not be." So I think perhaps in a world that all too often wants to tell little girls what they can't do and can't be, Harley throws up both middle fingers and spins around saying, "Be whatever you want, Puddin', as long as you're being yourself."
And do we know who that was? Joyce Carol Oates or something?
It was Teresa Strand, for what it's worth. No one that I think is of any significance.
So not Paul Harvey. All right, good.
Not Paul Harvey, yeah. That would be great.
More Paul Harvey coming back into the podcast.
And that woman was Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Oh, very nice. Who I hear is a delight. From actually, no, that's not even really a joke. But we'll move on. So yeah, man. We've done many of these DC direct-to-video things and whatnot, and I'll be honest with you, man. When anytime you get Kevin Conroy back in the saddle as Batman, especially after he's kind of announced retirement as Batman several times, I'm kind of on board all ready to go, man.
Yeah. I think that's a big get right there. Having him there guarantees you're going to have at least some fandom, and then of course pairing him up with Bruce Timm for the first time since forever ago is also a nice little maneuver.
That was going to be my next thing. Is that so the screenplay here is by story by Bruce Timm, teleplay by James Keurig. Sure. So it's interesting, man, because Bruce Timm is kind of he's gone in and out of some stuff every now and then. I can't remember the last. I'm going to look it up here because I didn't get it off the top of my head here of what the last stuff
he had a production role. He served as a producer of sorts for Gods and Monsters, but I don't think he had the kind of direct involvement. He didn't have like a story by or any kind of writing credit on anything since the end of Justice League Unlimited, I think, until this came around.
Yeah.
And also, I just want to mention, Paul Dini and Bruce Timm were like the dynamic duo of Batman the Animated Series. Paul Dini is currently writing comics for DC, and kind of gives me a little bit of a sadness inside that they didn't have him working with Bruce Timm on this. Because, to be honest, I think Paul Dini might have made this a little bit better movie if he was involved.
I think you're right, because like we kind of said at the top of the show and everything, this is an odd bird. Now, many of these DC direct-to-video things have been in the mostly PG-13 areas. Usually do for things such as violence, maybe a touch of language here or there. But even of all the ones that we've kind of reviewed for this show, none of them hit me like this one did.
And the Killing Joke, was kind of significant because it was an R-rated movie, which isn't typical for them. But this, I think we can call this R material, can't we?
It's pretty close. Again, even PG-13, and we all know how PG-13 goes. Everyone kind of skirts that and stuff. If you got an 11 or 12-year-old that you think can kind of handle, some violence and stuff like that, as most American kids can for sure, because we're just, trounced in it constantly. You'd let them go see something like this, but that's PG-13. But this, I say, is a little different.
And there's this weird mental phenomenon that happens with me, at least. Like, if it's the exact same story and it's live action, I say no question it's PG-13. But when you make it animated, I feel like you got to give that the R to really push home this is not for kids. You know what I'm saying? Because being animated, people are going to tend to lean towards assuming it's G no matter what it is. And that's it. Maybe it's just a hang up of mine, but I have this feeling like not only is it animated, but the style that it's animated, it almost gets penalized in the ratings. Whereas if this were live action, I'd say, yeah, it's a PG-13 because you expect this stuff in a live action superhero movie, but not necessarily in something animated in the style of Bruce Timm.
Exactly. And that was the next thing I was going to point out, is that this is more in that Bruce Timm sort of style, as opposed to the other ones that have been, everything from your Aquaman to Son of Batman and things of that nature, which have a more kind of distinctive sort of anime style. This still harkens back to the original Fox run of the Batman animated series. It's a bit different, obviously, but it's still got the big hallmarks are there.
And I think they kind of had a problem of lacking what I would say is a unified vision for what to do with this movie. Personally, I think they should have just gone all in on Batman the Animated Series nostalgia. Mm-hmm. I think this should have been an homage to the greatness that was Batman the Animated Series. But they slip in adult stuff just to be adult really doesn't add to the story.
It doesn't
They
add
also
a thing.
have this sequence where they're suddenly paying homage to the Adam West Batman 66, but they've already had a whole movie to do that, with the second one due to be released soon.
Yeah.
So it's just weird. It's got some parts where it's trying to be grown up, like Nolan-esque, and then it's got some parts where it does have those classic character drawings of Bruce Timm, and then it's got the Batman 66 stuff, and it's like they couldn't decide what they wanted to do with this movie, so they just tried to do a little bit of everything. Didn't work for me.
No, it's a giant wheel spin of everything, and where that wheel stops, you're not sure next. I mean, from scene to scene, you
And
start
then the
getting it, and you're
intro-
like, what is this?
And the intro animation, like the little opening credits thing that they have, is almost like Mad Magazine style. Like it's even more juvenile than the rest of the movie, which is, I don't mean juvenile in a negative way, but it really is kiddied up like Teen Titans Go style animation in the very beginning.
Yeah, you would start this up if you were like an unknowing parent, you'd start this up. You'd look at the animation from the beginning and go, this is fine for my kid. And the next thing you know, your 6-year-old is watching, Harley Quinn bending over in her underpants, just kind of, flagging a butt in front of the screen. And it's just like, I sit there, like, it's uncomfortable for me as an adult watching it. It seems weird and just wrong.
Yeah. And there's something about it that, like you said, just seems wrong. When you see that Bruce Timm style animation where it's a woman in her underwear, is very different than seeing the newer like Throne of Atlantis style animation with a woman in her underwear.
That would be way different. It's really bizarre, and you're right. It's the older style thrown into this new thing, and most of it, I just want to scratch my head and go, "Who is this for?" Now, if it's for anybody,
it was almost as jarring as if I saw a picture of Marcy from the Peanuts in her underwear. Just something you don't expect to see.
Yeah, it's really bizarre, and it's just like, and you're right. Harley got to be like a very sexualized character, but it certainly was not within the auspices of the Bruce Timm Batman the Animated Series.
Yeah, and this is where I think Paul Dini would have helped out, because I honestly think he understands that character unlike anyone else.
Yeah,
and he has recently started writing some Harley stories again, and he has been quick to give her back that original power that she held, and to do away with some of that sexing up of Harley. And he's got her back in the Jester bodysuit and out of the shorty shorts and stuff. So I think he would have had the sort of reserved hand that could have helped in this movie.
I definitely think you're right. So let's talk about another kind of big change to this before we get into the kind of story and stuff. Melissa Rauch coming in as the voice of Harley Quinn, no less. So we've had, Tara Strong's usually the voice, right?
Well, Tara Strong has done the voice for some Arkham Asylum stuff, some shorts. She's never had a chance to really do a Harley Quinn in a good movie or full-length cartoon, a feature on television. I think that Tara Strong is the perfect person to do this. I think this is the voice role that actress is made for, as much as Conroy is made for Batman. Mm-hmm. I really do. As much as Hamill is made for the Joker. I think that she is the person who has been now repeatedly passed over to be Harley Quinn in big productions, but given these smaller ones, which, let's be honest, the Arkham Asylum games outshine almost anything that DC Animation's done lately.
1,000%.
So I don't understand why they don't bring Tara on over to these movies. Not that I don't like Melissa Roach. I think she's a pretty darn good choice if you're not going with Tara. She's got that kind of natural, nasally Brooklyn voice to her, from what I understand. Mm-hmm. But Tara, she's the best female voice actor that I know of.
Yeah.
And she's also got like all the right innate qualities to be Harley, and I think she understands Harley. And for people who might not be familiar with Tara Strong, she's Timmy Turner on Fairly Godparents, or whatever that's called. She's also Raven on Teen Titans Go, and she got passed over to do Raven in the Teen Titans movie, which bugged me. But she would be the perfect choice for me.
Yeah, if you just IMDb her up, it's just going to be, you're going to be like, whoa, 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 whoa. The hits don't stop with that one. She's so good.
And she's got a devoted fandom. She's
Huge.
Not Kevin Conroy, but she would sell some tickets. She would sell copies of this movie. And for some reason, Warner Brothers just can't accept that people like her. It puzzles me to a degree.
It is bizarre. But you're right. I mean, for who she, and I was a little bit, amiss with her coming in there. But she does do a good job. I'm not going to sit here and say that, she was a bad replacement, because for what honestly, I don't know that they could have come up with a much better. They could have come up with a lot worse. I'll say that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I think with Harley, a smart thing to do is to find somebody from, that general neighborhood that Harley's supposed to be from, that speaks that way naturally, because people that are sort of putting on a fake Harley voice can get annoying real quickly.
Oh, yeah. It just gets to, it's that, it's that horrible put on. So, yeah, she was born in New Jersey. So, she's been around that in her entire life.
Yeah.
So knows that sort of thing.
I'm trying to think. There was another voice actor, Lauren Lester, who's done a lot of Robin Batwing stuff. But I mean, he's fine.
Oh, he's great. He's always he's been on since the original animated series. So I was really happy to see him back here. Just another great voice actor that's just constantly on point.
And another great example of how some people get old, but their voices don't. Because that guy's got to be older than me, but man, he does a pretty good young Nightwing voice.
Yeah, I think he's like 52 right now.
Yeah, man, and doesn't sound it, does he?
No, he still sounds fantastic. At least Kevin Conroy was always doing kind of a grumbly sort of voice, so it's not that bad.
Yeah, exactly.
So he always can kind of ride that train for a while. Who was it that I heard on Wink Martindale? On Gilbert Gottfried's podcast. Oh my gosh, does he sound exactly the same? He's like 85 years old. He sounds exactly like he used to, man. It's kind of creepy.
Well, I mean, Casey Kasem kept the voice going until his, mental health, unfortunately dementia kept him from being able to do his thing. But man, Casey Kasem had that golden voice till his late years, and Dick Clark as well.
Crazy.
Till a stroke took it from him, unfortunately. But yeah, some of those guys, man, they just have those voices. And other guys,
voices, dude.
And other guys, man, they get old and you hear it. Some guys.
Woo. Yeah, I mean, because and he did what he did for as much as he could do it, but you could hear like in the Adam West Batman, it was like, oh, it's a little bit behind there, but yet at the same time, Burt Ward sound exactly the same.
Yeah, I don't get it, man. I don't understand.
Burt Ward was dead on. West sounded a little bit old. Julie Newmar sounded very old.
Yeah.
But Burt Ward, man, he was kicking with all cylinders, man. You wouldn't know the difference. You'd be like, that had to have been recorded in 1968, right? And it's like, no, that was in 2016.
What people don't know is he's rested his voice. He hasn't said a word since Batman went off the air until he got this movie rolling.
Now, I'm sure he's yelling at his 87 cats that are inside of his house. The man's a nut job.
It's dogs, man. The guy loves
That's
dogs.
what it was, dogs. I knew he had like 8 billion animals.
Yeah. Claims his dogs live to be like 47 years old or something because he feeds them a special diet.
Yeah, of humans.
Broken dreams. I feed them exclusively with broken dreams.
All of mine. Here you go. Eat them up.
Now, let's go ahead and just sort of get kind of into the Harley Quinn stuff. I mean, it starts off with this little opening of the story where we see that Poison Ivy and the Floronic Man have stolen some information about Alec Holland, who is Swamp Thing, along with this Goldblum or something like that's the name of this professor, this botanist that they've kidnapped, and they're just setting up the MacGuffin that's going to move the story along.
But let's be honest, is that can that not be just a shout out to the Fly?
You know what? It could be.
It's got to be, right?
Much could be. I didn't even think about that, but you're right. But, the story we really are here to see isn't the story of trying to stop Floronic Man and Poison Ivy. It's the story of Batman working alongside Harley Quinn. So it starts off with Nightwing being tasked with finding Harley Quinn, and they don't waste any time into trying to sexy it up a little bit because they have her working at this restaurant called Super Babes. And at first, tell me if you had the same thought. It went quickly, but at first I thought they were trying to tell me that they actually had Power Girl and Wonder Woman and Supergirl working as waitresses here. It took me a minute to realize these were just women in costumes.
I thought for half a second that soon fleeted, but then the next thought was, why is this not a thing?
Yeah, and also, does copyright not exist in Gotham? Because that's why it's not a thing right now. Is probably Warner Brothers would say, you know what? If you're not at Six Flags, you can't wear an official DC costume.
That sounds like what this had to be a thing where you tell me, because you're the encyclopedia man on this. There had to be something where there was like superheroes and they had to do with some sort of copyright infringement or something like that, or trademarks of their names, and they had to fight things like that. It feels like it might be like an like a Watchmen Elsewhere's book where they're just like going to court and talking about, you can't call yourself this, I call myself this, or somebody else making like
Man, it sounds like something Matt Murdock would be all in the middle of.
Some bootleg merchandise is being made and they don't like it because it's got their name attached to it.
That sounds very much like a 90s storyline, but I can't put my thumb on a specific
Feels
one.
like one.
But man, this if Hooters was as good as Super Babes, I would probably go there.
That's true. I'm telling you, I would go to this thing, but you're right. It would end up just like this thing is, and some dude going, well, I'm just gonna grab a whole cheek full of of Harley Quinn here, but
yeah, before we see Harley Quinn undressing, we get the little peekaboo at her red tights. They're not tights, man. Those are, might as well call them underwear. Those red things under her skirt. Yeah, so she's bending over and we're getting a little peek, and Nightwing is figuring out that this isn't a woman dressed as Harley Quinn. This is actually Harley Quinn because she breaks the arm of the guy who tries to get cheeky with her, if you'll give me a pun.
And throws the guy, no less,
Yeah. And he complains to the manager, and he just points to the sign that's a picture of Wonder Woman's boobs, and it says, you can look all you want, but don't touch.
And so this is the first clue into like this ain't your daddy's Batman animated series.
And Nightwing follows her back to her apartment, and they have a little sort of judo brawl out in the alleyway, and then she pokes him with Joker venom, which allows her to take him hostage and tape him to the bed. And this is when it really kicks it up a notch. Like, I could kind of roll with everything in Super Babes, but here she just flat out takes off her costume, bending over in the closet in her underwear with Robin checking out her butt. And I'm going to say this gently, but she comments that she is able to notice a physical indication that Nightwing enjoys what he sees. Mm-hmm. And I think I can leave it at that, and people know what I'm talking about, right?
I think so.
Yes. So,
and then they may or may not get busy.
Yeah, she goes from just seeing the physical confirmation that he's interested into full on, honestly, kind of like he's taped to the bed. She kind of almost takes advantage of him, you could say.
I don't think he minds, but you're not wrong.
He even says something like, the things I do for Gotham. Oh, yeah, people are really feeling bad for you there, Nightwing.
Yeah, it's just, it's uncomfortable, dude.
Yes, it is. There's so much so wrong. And coming on the heels of the Killing Joke, where I'm still not happy about how the way they played the physical nature of the relationship between Bruce Wayne and Barbara Gordon. And then here to see Nightwing getting frisky with Harley, which is just an uncomfortable feeling matchup. Like, it just doesn't make sense in comic book terms, and then of course Batman is worried because Nightwing has been kidnapped, and he hears what sounds like shouts coming from the apartment where Harley lives. He's getting ready to kick the door open, and then he notices that there's some giggles going along with those shouts, and he finally opens the door and he just gives Nightwing the old, man, I am so disappointed in you right now, look.
Yeah, and so at this point they are like fully dressed, so it's just like, it's maybe not, but it's certainly implied.
I'll say there's enough given to us that we can say that they did it if we want to.
That's
you know
true.
What I mean?
Yeah.
But in support of the movie makers, after she gets out of Super Babes, she goes to the classic Paul Dini, Bruce Timm jester costume, and we don't see her in skimpy clothes really much from that point on.
Which is nice.
Yeah, so they do go with the heart of who Harley is, but then any kind of goodwill that's built up kind of goes away when they decide to do a gag about Harley just farting uncontrollably in the backseat of the Batmobile. Like, that did not contribute much to the story to me.
It was another thing of like just the wild shifts in this thing to where you go where they're possibly doing the do up in there to a fart humor, straight up, absolute, literal fart humor.
And it's not like they just put in once and we get our little laugh and then it's over with. She passes gas, I think, 3 or 4 times, and they just keep getting deeper and louder.
And did you ever think that you'd see the day where we were talking about rolling down the windows in the Batmobile on account of a fart?
And a Harley Quinn one at that.
Exactly.
I mean, if they had Clayface in the back seat, I'd probably think it was funny because, he's going to leave brown streaks on the seat. But it's just so weird because they've just, in my opinion, I'm just talking about my own opinion, they've inappropriately sexualized her in this preceding scene. And now they're deciding to tell us that she's a big-time tooter. I mean, I understand everybody toots, but man, she could have held it after she let the first one out at least.
And speaking of which, I smell, no pun intended, the next Bruce Leslie book, Everybody Toots.
I think I would be good at that.
Can't wait for that audiobook.
Now, I'm going to throw this to you and see if you agree or disagree or how you feel about it. But I think, now I'm not saying that it was the right thought process, but I think I got an idea what they were thinking when they added some of this in. And I think somewhere along the line, hopefully not Bruce Timm himself, but someone said all the people who were fans of the original series, they're all 20 plus years older now. So let's adult it up.
Yeah.
But I also think that they're missing the point of nostalgia. You know, I think that being more true to the original series would have went over better than fart jokes. To me, what made Batman the animated series so great was that even though it was put in a kid's block and aimed at kids, the stories were really intellectually stimulating stories. They were well written. They were literary stories, and they didn't talk down to us when we were children or teenagers or whatever. And I think throwing in this adult content just for the sake of saying that it's adult content is kind of like the inverse of dumbing it down for a kid. You know, it's like dumbing it up to make it for an adult instead of down.
Yeah.
You follow me there?
No, you're absolutely correct. I mean, when I watched the original Batman the Animated Series, that's what I loved about it was it was never my bag. I liked it well enough, but I was never like the diehard Adam West Batman fan, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, I liked it well enough for what kids do, but I was just like, it's not really where my stuff was. And when Batman the Animated Series came out, it was just like, this doesn't treat me like I'm a child. This treats me like I'm an adult who likes this sort of stuff while not being adult, but treats me like I have a brain in my head and that I'm smart.
And when I was in like the 3rd, 4th grade, I would go to the local junior college library, and they had movies you could actually watch there in the library with headphones on. It's this weird thing that I did. But I really enjoyed things like the Maltese Falcon, and I really enjoyed like the African Queen. Humphrey Bogart stuff appealed to me. And when I started watching Batman the Animated Series, I felt like it captured what made those Humphrey Bogart kind of movies so great, because it's given us a real mystery, and there's tough stuff happening, but it's not over the top explicit language or sex, you know, because they had that whole Hays Code going on when they were making those Bogart flicks. And I really miss that this doesn't seem to have some of that awesomeness that was in Batman the Animated Series.
Yeah, it's weird. All right, let's get to a couple of the other weird things, because this thing gets weirder and weirder as it goes on.
Want to go to the retro bar?
Yes.
So they go to this retro bar. I guess it's supposed to be a throwback to the groovy 60s or something, but this is when the movie decides suddenly they're going to pay homage to the Adam West Batman 66, which people love, and it deserves an homage, and that's why they made the Return of the Cape Crusaders. And there's a sequel where William Shatner is going to be playing Two-Face that should be coming out soon. So they have plenty of Batman 66 homage going on,
which we loved.
I don't know. Yeah, but I don't know why they need to push it into this movie. This already has its own beloved property to serve as an homage to.
It's trying to you've gone to a crappy buffet that has everything on there. It's just like
This is the Golden Corral of animation.
Yeah, it's like you go to like if you went to a seafood place that has like a seafood bar, and then over to the side there's like, we also have spaghetti. There's no way in heck that spaghetti's good.
There's a lot of Chinese restaurants that'll throw a couple of crab legs out on the buffet, and I always avoid those too.
Or but I've seen chicken nuggets. Why is there chicken nuggets at my Chinese restaurant? That doesn't make it. I mean, I know it's for the kids, but still.
Or even better, a Chinese restaurant that throws out like Swedish meatballs out of the blue.
I'm telling you, I've seen stuff like this. It's not something that doesn't exist. It absolutely does.
But we get a couple of musical numbers, which makes me think that they were having trouble making this movie long enough.
We
to call
needed
it a feature.
to fill some time. We're going to go a little bit more in depth here on HMP than we normally do. I have this song. So when they walk into this bar, here's what's going on.
If you do, then I think that maybe I'll just lay me down, cry for 100 years.
Now that's Hamilton, Joe Franklin, and Reynolds, isn't it?
Exactly. Well, it's a cover of that song, but a song of which I love. I love that song. I really do. I think it's I'm a very old man when it comes to music. I love that song, and they played the whole thing. It's the whole song. It is the 2 minute and 20-second version of that song. It is the whole thing.
And they have these two guys singing it to each other, which is cool because it was a vocal collection of multiple men that sang the original. But it's like I don't know if they thought that they're being cool by having two guys sing it. Like, I don't understand if this is supposed to be an example of inclusion. Like, is this inclusion and representation? Are they making the guys the punchline?
Here's what I was asking you. And I sit there and I'm like, maybe Bruce knows that so these aren't, as far as you're aware, actual comic book characters in any way, shape, or form.
Those guys singing, as far as I know, I don't know any twin characters that look like Howdy Doody. Maybe there's something from the Batman 66 show, which is where this bar seems to exist, that I don't recall. But I don't know who those two guys would be. It's
bizarre. And the thing is, because you look at it, and again, it's like, it is what it is, whatever. But you look around, and part of you just goes, are we to think that this is like a gay nightclub? But then it's not really, but it might be. But it might not be. It just seems like a weird host of everything in there. It just seems odd, whole choice of everything.
One thought I had is maybe they're just trying to be inclusive. Like, you know what? We're going to have these two guys that are in love with each other, singing to each other, and we're not going to make a big deal.
But it was more than that. There was other ones out in the crowd and stuff, too. But then it wasn't. I don't know. It just seemed.
But then they went and made them twin brothers, which is just confusing. Like, why would twin brothers be doing, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's odd.
Like, if it was just two dudes, I would be more comfortable with it than if it's twin brothers singing this love song to each other. And then also, I feel like at one point the idea was we're just going to be inclusive. We're not going to make a big deal about it. We're going to have a gay couple on stage, and it's just going to be part of the world that we all want to live in, where we accept each other. But then I also feel like some producers said, oh, you know what? Some people won't like it if you have the gay stuff, so let's make them brothers. And then suddenly we've got twin brothers, and it just doesn't work.
Yeah, you look around, and it's such an amalgamation of different types of characters and stuff, too. It just doesn't seem like anybody belongs, or why would anyone go here?
And as far as being inclusive, I mean, there's famously from the third appearance or so of Harley Quinn, there's always been this whole issue of Harley Quinn's fluid sexuality and her relationship with Poison Ivy as being more than just friends at times. I mean, they've already got inclusiveness here. They don't need to give us twin brothers dressed like Richie Cunningham singing a love song to each other.
But that, like, and as weird and stuff as that is, and that's fine. But it gets what's more bothersome to me is once we finish that whole 2 minute and 20-second song, then for some weird reason we decide to do it again. And here's what that song is like.
I'm in the phone booth, it's the one across the hall. If you don't answer, I'll just ring it off the wall. I know he's there, but I just.
So we have Harley Quinn sing "Hanging on the Telephone" by Blondie.
And I like that song, and that seems like a song that Harley would sing. And if they just wanted Harley to go up and sing her musical number, I think I could go with it because it's kind of fun to hear Melissa Roach sing it. It seems like the kind of, Blondie's version of punk rock seems right at home with Harley Quinn, though personally I think she should have sang something by the Runaways, but, that's a story for another day.
But why this?
But it doesn't go with this bar. How does the same band that plays "Don't Pull Your Love Out on Me, Baby" know all the chords to?
There's no band
songs?
there, Bruce. There's no band at all. There's nothing on stage but her. Or the other two dudes when they're up on stage. That's it. That's the only two things that are there. She has to talk to this dude who looks like, Broccoli Man or whatever the heck he is.
Yeah, she calls him Fishy or something. He has a name.
Something like that.
It's not a name I recognize.
But she talks to him, and then she gets to do a song on stage. Again, another 2-minute song. So we've literally spent 5 minutes listening to music in a thing that's not a musical.
But I will say that they're good versions of both of the songs. So if you got to have a musical, at least they're decent songs. I swear,
though, dude, it's like if there was something in the middle, maybe, but like they're almost back to back. Where by the time that second one started, I'm just like, are you joking me? Are we going to do this again, the whole bloody song? And sure enough, they did.
At least now we know the perfect place to go take a number 2 if we ever rewatch this.
No kidding.
Because we got a solid 5 minutes of uninterrupted song time.
And you got Batman and Nightwing sitting there watching the thing, and then Batman starts kind of tapping his toes along with the whole thing. This is so dumb. And
you saw the criminal, the criminal in the tiger striped shirt comes up behind Batman and starts doing the Pat Watusi from Batman 66. Like he does the exact steps that Adam West does for the Bat Watusi. making the ears, doing the thing over the eyes, and then making the wings with his hand. That's the Bat Watusi that Adam West made so famous. But it's not Batman doing it. It's some nameless henchman in a tiger shirt that's doing it. And Batman just kind of turns around and punches him or something and brings it into that. But I don't get that. And then, they have to fight their way out of the bar. But instead of watching the fight, we go out into the parking lot and we just see Batman 66 style sound effect words come up like bam, pow, smash. And then the last one is ow, my balls.
Yeah, it's so horrible. It is cringe.
Yeah, just misguided, man. Terribly misguided. I think we skimmed over the conversation with Booster Gold in the Batmobile. I heard what you had to say about that on the Film Find. You want to kind of recap those hand gestures
gosh,
Nightwing
dude.
has given us?
So like they're trying to figure out what's going on. Batman's kind of put out like a signal that like he maybe needs help from the JLA or something, and they're all off doing whatever it is that they're doing. So he talks to Booster Gold on the speakerphone there in the Batmobile. You got Nightwing to his right there, and then Harley right behind. And so while Booster Gold's going through the people that are available to help along with this, he's showing Batman. Like through hand signals and stuff of reasons why he doesn't want to deal with these people. I forget the names right off the top of my head, but the first one he goes like he does the hands going back and forth like ooh talking too much like and it gives you a subtitle that says talks too much. The next one one says basically oh crazy, and there's another one that says jerk, and he's doing the motion and an explode hand. And it says jerk at the bottom of the screen. And you're just like, oh, my gosh, how wildly inappropriate.
And if anybody thinks we're being vague about the hand motion that Nightwing is doing, it's because we don't use an explicit tag here. So I think you know what hand motion we're talking about.
You know exactly what we're doing.
It looks kind of like he's stabbing an imaginary animal in his lap.
Exactly. And it's just like, dude, are you kidding me that you did this? It's so wrong in this place. It bugs the crap out of me.
And in the UK, instead of calling him a jerk, the subtitle said he's a wanker.
Well, there you go. Yeah, pretty much. Exactly. Now, if you can't put two and two together on that one, H.M. Pierce, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, so I think we can kind of move on to the end, the climax, if you want to call it that. But they all end up in Louisiana. The Floronic Man and Poison Ivy are in Louisiana, and Batman and Harley Quinn and Nightwing come there to get them, and they have to fight against some plant monsters that Poison Ivy controls, which is kind of different from what Poison Ivy's powers classically are, but I can roll with that.
Yeah, it's fine.
And in the end, the upper hand gets gained by Floronic Man and Poison Ivy, and Harley decides to sort of betray Batman and Nightwing because she doesn't want Poison Ivy to get killed or whatever. And in the battle between Harley and Poison Ivy, she uses the nuclear option, which I kind of like this. I thought this was true to what I know about the characters going back a long way. But she takes off her hood, wipes off her makeup, and cries. And the tears are the nuclear option that makes Poison Ivy suddenly helpless. And she actually embraces Harley. And that was kind of a nice little scene. But, of course, Floronic Man will have none of it. And just starts wreaking havoc where now he's going to kill not only Batman and Nightwing and Harley Quinn, but also Poison Ivy. And then out of nowhere, this I don't know, would you say 200-foot tall version of Swamp Thing comes up out of the swamp?
Pretty close, yeah.
Like kind of a Deus Ex Swampina. Could we say that?
I'd put that in there, yes.
But he might not be 200 feet tall, but he's at least 50 feet tall. I mean, it's
bare minimum
massive,
50. Bare minimum 50.
Yeah, massive version of Swamp Thing comes up out of the swamp and tells Jason Woodrue, a.k.a. the Floronic Man, that he's a bad person. And then Swamp Thing just goes away and, does absolutely nothing.
Jack and squat. Not a thing. It is so dumb.
It was the weirdest thing, and it looks like this that Floronic Man has them outmatched, and they really need an ace up their sleeve to help them save the day. Swamp Thing shows up and does nothing, just says a few words of wisdom, disappears, and suddenly the whole story is resolved by lighting a match because they just now realize that Floronic Man is flammable. I mean, it sounds like the dumbest resolution to a story that I can imagine, and believe me, I've written some dumb stories.
It's bad. It doesn't make any sense. It just feels like we needed to wrap this thing up. They didn't have enough time. They didn't have enough for an hour and 15 minutes. They just didn't. And they stretch it out by 5 minutes by giving us 2 songs in a row, and then they were just like, just wrap it up with whatever the heck we can.
And it's like they wrote themselves into a situation they didn't know how to get out of. And then they brought up Swamp Thing, who would have been the perfect way to resolve the situation. No. And then Swamp Thing went away, and they light a match, and all of a sudden Floronic Man's deathly afraid of the match. And then we get, I guess, sort of not quite a mid-credit scene, but we get a scene of him running away scared of the fire, almost implying that they set the whole forest on fire.
They should set this whole movie on fire.
Yeah, it's not a good one, man. The more we talk about it, the less I like it. And I didn't go in like loving it, but as we talk about it, my rating drops.
Dude, I think I'm on the same boat here. But like the more that I've talked about it, more I kind of things have gone out. I think my grade's gone down.
Yeah.
But of course, we can't get to this thing without, something a little extra special for the kids. Because even though Sean's gone, he's not forgotten. That's your cue, dummy.
Am I supposed to do the Stallone connection?
No, you're supposed to lead me into it.
Oh, hey, man, do you have a Stallone connection? I was lost.
We planned this show out so well.
Hey, why don't you tell us how this movie relates to Sylvester Stallone?
Oh, all right. Well, thank you, Bruce. I have a prepared statement.
You don't say.
Well, HMPers, it's that time again. Sean is out, so it's up to me to do the Stallone connection. And whoop-de-freaking-do, we have another animated movie on our hands. Don't think you do this on purpose, Keenan. You don't like these animated movies, and you sure don't like to have to do the Stallone connection for them. And why would you? They're the equivalent of going to the dentist. You may not want to, but sometimes it's necessary. Like it is for me right now. Seriously, any HMP dentist want to executive producer credit for this for some free dental work, and you live within driving distance of the Charlotte area, holler at your boy. Moving on. Now, as I've stated on this show before, voiceover actors are the laziest bunch of so-and-sos ever to grace the good Lord's big blue orb. And like the bunch of basic Betty Bryants that they are, they love their pumpkin spice lattes, getting up at noon and doing a job that's even easier than my current job. And for those of you keeping score at home, my current job is unemployment, patreon.com/HMP. It says a lot about these ne'er-do-wells, I would say. Sure, you have your cases like Melissa Rauch, who happens to be on America's most inexplicably popular comedy on television. They get up, she puts her pants on, and enjoys the fruits of the real world. But those kind of people are too far in between in the animated world. Sure, you're a sloppy voiceover actors. I just wanted them to make sure that they knew, But this week's Stallone connection is indeed one of the few, the proud, the ones able to get off their fat keisters and act like they care. Lauren Lester has been the voice of Dick Grayson since Batman the Animated Series back in the early 90s. He's been doing the voice for so long, he's gone from Robin to Nightwing and nearly doubled his age in the process. And he even sounds identical now as he did way back when. Lauren Lester is a man who delivers. And as I said, Lauren Lester is unlike most animation slobs out there in that he's ready to leave the house and get the real work done. One of his many sojourns out into the real world, Lauren Lester did a guest spot on Las Vegas, a show that no one watched, but apparently everyone has been in.
Yeah, I like the theme song.
And we praise the movie gods for that, because while this job of finding a Stallone connection may seem easy, sometimes it's a real pain, like having to listen to 2 musical numbers in an animated movie that's not a musical kind of pain. Lauren Lester played the pivotal role of lawyer number 2 on Las Vegas, and with a name like that, I'm sure his character was a deep and nuanced one, like bartender or arresting cop number 3. Longtime listeners of HMP will already know that the man who surely smells like the finest of Italian sausages, Sylvester Stallone, had a quick stint as Frank the Repairman on Las Vegas. And thanks to that, the beautiful man that is Lauren Lester, that is why we have a Stallone connection this week. Now, Booster Gold, let's rate this bad boy so we can get back to packing our bags for Dragon Con.
Yes. I'm going to start with some good things because there are good things. I did like the animation. I love the visual style of Batman, the animated series. And for the most part, we have decent enough animation. I think they maybe cut some corners on Floronic Man, made an odd decision with Swamp Thing, but I like the animation. I like the voice actors. I don't really have any problems with who they've cast in the major roles here. We even had a really nice big name in my book. I think his name's John DiMaggio that did the voice of Swamp Thing, who only showed up for a brief moment or two. But I think he's another one of those voice acting legends, so I like it when he shows up. Futurama fans will know him from a plethora of roles over there.
Gears of War.
Yeah.
Then you got Futurama. I mean, the guy's everywhere.
Now, the plot to this movie was pretty bland. In fact, I would say it was uninspired. The tone, as we said, was inconsistent. The resolution was almost non-existent. It had unwarranted and unearned adult content. And it's too expensive, quite frankly, for me to recommend that people go check it out right now. Wait till it shows up on like HBO Go or something. You might check it out if it shows up on Netflix. I don't really recommend anybody pay to see it. There may be a few gags that some people will enjoy. There's some people that laugh at a fart joke no matter how odd it is. So there might be some people out there that will enjoy it. I went into this review thinking I was going to give it a very weak Damian Wayne, but I think I'm just going to go ahead and step that on back to Stephanie Brown after talking to you about it.
Yeah, I think I started out at Stephanie Brown while doing this, and over the time, as much as I like all the things that we talked about, the things that I do like, this movie just made me mad. It made me mad overall, and I can't recommend it to anybody. I don't know who to tell to watch this. Younger audiences should not watch it. Older audiences won't give a crap about it. I can't recommend this to anyone. I don't think they should do. And Sean, I can't believe this. You squirreled out of one of the good bad ones to get away from. This is a Jason Todd for me, man. Skip this thing altogether. And I hate saying that about a Kevin Conroy Batman thing, but this stinks.
Yeah, you won't get any arguments out of me.
No. So that's it. All right, everybody. That is it for this week's episode. Thank you for listening. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for sharing the show with friends, man. That's how we get the word out here. Reviewing us on the iTunes there and all that kind of good stuff helps us spread the word about this here program. And next week, we're going to be talking about the Netflix exclusive Death Note movie. That was based on a manga and a whole bunch of other good stuff. So we'll be talking about that next week. Bruce, in the meantime, where can we find more of your work on the internet and perhaps find some of your work in person?
Well, people can come check me out at Dragon Con. I've been invited to sit in on the Preacher Podcast live recording there.
You're such an ancillary member to the group.
No, all kidding aside, Sunday, September 3rd, 11:30 in the Hilton Galleria 6. Come see us. Man, if you live in Atlanta, you live near Atlanta, you have access to a car and enough money to buy gas to get to Atlanta, any of those combination of things, come see us at Dragon Con because we've been looking forward to this for years. I mean, I'm not using hyperbole here. We've been wanting to do this from the beginning, and now we're getting a chance to do it. So we would love it if some folks would show up and have a good time, and we're going to have a blast. And also, go to Audible and get Dragon and Gallus, the Lump Adventures book, too. It's available on Audible. I haven't really spread the word on that much. So that is my most recent book, now available as an audiobook on Audible. Dragon in Gallus, Gallis.
I've got it, people. What's your excuse?
Yeah, man. Be more like Adam, everyone.
Yeah. And in some ways, in many ways, you should really not. Probably best for everybody. And, of course, our other podcast, like I said, Preacher Podcast, live show out there. And The Film Find, thefilmfind.com. Several new releases this week. We'll be talking about those. And, of course, I didn't get to it this last Saturday because we saw a fight. And but I'll be doing a Nerd Talk Now live during the week. So keep an eye out for that. Facebook.com/Nerd Talk Now, or just go to nerdtalknow.com. That directs you to the Twitch page there. Go ahead and sign up for that and get the automatic updates and everything. So when we're happening, boom, you'll get like a little email or a pop-up if you have the Twitch app, and it will let you know when I'm going live, man. So go ahead and do on that, and we'll probably do a couple things on that as well during Dragon Con also. So keep an eye out for that also. And that's about it, man. So join us back here next week when we talk Death Note. For the absent Sean Keenan, Bruce Leslie, my name's Adam Portrais. Stay super, everybody.
Marty and Evie.
You say you're gonna leave, gonna take that big white bird, gonna fly right out of here without a single word. But you know you'll break my heart when I watch you close that door, 'cause I know I won't see you anymore. Don't pour your love out on me, baby. If you do, then I think that maybe I'll just lay me down right for 100 years. Don't pour your love out on me, honey. Take my heart, my soul, my money, but don't leave me drowning in my tears. Haven't I been good to you? What about that brand new ring? Doesn't that mean love to you? Doesn't that mean anything?